All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
It just maybe doesn't have the instructions on how to do it. It's computer code. When you reach that level of mind, the unconscious mind or subconscious part of mind, you're really dealing with computer code.
Yeah.
And if, let's say, I don't know, you're writing an accounting program for your business, and you put in there 2 + 2 = 5. Well, it doesn't matter that frustrates you and that it messes up the other equations. And it doesn't matter how much you type on your keyboard or slam your keyboard with your fist out of frustration, or talk to your friend about how unfair it is that 2 + 2 = 5, or take a marker and write on your computer screen 2 + 2 = 4. It's not until you go into the computer code, go through those lines of code. It's like, oh, there it is, 2 + 2 = 5. That's okay. Well, let's just erase it, amend it, edit it, delete it. Put in there 2 + 2 = 4. Now all your equations equal out.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to make it sound that easy and simple, but sometimes it's that easy and simple.
Yeah.
There's this thing of like we grip onto a pen very tightly with our hand. And sometimes we grip onto a pen so tightly with our hand, it starts feeling really familiar to us. And it feels so familiar gripping onto this pen that it starts feeling comfortably miserable, but we're comfortable because it's so familiar. And then we grip onto this pen with making a fist for so long, it's so familiar, so comfortable, we start thinking that this is who we are. But it's not. Just open up your fist. Drop the pen.
Yeah.
You don't need to know how a pen is made. You don't need to know what color ink it is. You don't even have to know what ink is or how it's made. Just drop the pen.
Right.
And again, I don't want to make it out to seem like it's that easy and simple, but sometimes it's that easy and simple.
Yeah.
Just drop the pen.
So when you found yourself, you had said you woke up one day and all of a sudden you just felt better.
Yeah.
So how did you get to that place? Was it just because you hadn't started researching hypnotherapy yet, correct?
Well, yeah, I had done hypnotherapy at that point.
Okay, so
it wasn't that I just felt better, it's that I noticed I felt better.
Okay.
And I had just grown into a new way of being and just didn't notice it.
Okay.
Because you're working and then you have small children and you have, work and you have a relationship, you're married and you got to mow the lawn and you got to shovel the snow, but you're still working on yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes here or 10 minutes there, using the in-between times. And it was a lot. Everybody's a little different and things, and that's why hypnotherapy is filled with different kind of processes and techniques and strategies. But a lot of times it's just the relentlessness of doing the work.
Yeah.
The persistence of continuing, because that's how you train your mind, right? Just doing it over and over again. What's strongest within your mind is what you do over and over again. And so just by practicing, we get better at something. We know this by playing the piano or playing the guitar or violin or learning dance or learning martial arts, getting a black belt in taekwondo or judo or something, or even a little kid learning to walk or riding a bicycle. What you practice, you get better at. Unfortunately, what if you're practicing anxiety? What if you're practicing anger, being angry at the world? What if you're practicing fear? You're just really going to get better at it. You're literally going to be wiring that into your brain.
Yeah.
And so really a lot of this work is just the persistence, the relentlessness of just practicing something else. There's many studies out there, hundreds of studies that show exercise will cure depression for a lot of people, a majority of people, and works as well as medication, if not better than medication. Now, it's hard to get out of bed and go exercise when you're depressed, but moving your body and just changing how you sit and you can change your state and how you feel right away.
Yeah.
There's a TED Talk that came out, Amy Cuddy. I think it's the third most popular TED Talk on
Mm.
TED.com or whatever it is, TED.org, whatever it is. But the third most popular TED Talk of all time, and she's talking about the power poses,
Mm.
and she's the Harvard sociologist,
Oh, yes.
Amy
Yes.
Cuddy, and she got a lot of flack because it was a new idea, and academia doesn't like new and
Mhm.
different. But she put her research out there, and of course, everybody started ripping her apart because she got famous on the internet for doing all her research. And it's not like she's just some schmo, just putting something out there on TikTok. She's a Harvard sociologist or psychologist
Right.
or something.
Yeah.
So, but she did all the research, and then she got a lot of flack for some of the research. So, what do? You do more research, and
Right.
she proved it again. And so, but the idea is, and it's a wonderful TED Talk, but she just talks about how just standing in a power pose.
Yeah.
Some of them are like the Wonder Woman pose with your hands on your hips,
Hmm.
your
Yeah.
kind of feet kind of spread apart a little bit, shoulder width apart, or I guess that's Superman pose or whatever that is, or the feet on the desk. And you see in the old movies, feet on the desk, smoking the cigar kind of thing. But pose of power will actually start changing the brain chemistry, so you feel more confident. And so just little things like that, just changing your state in your body, rolling your shoulders around. A lot of us keep our stress and tension in our jaw. We clench our teeth or clench our jaw and grind our teeth. So, do jaw yoga, move your jaw around, you
Yeah.
know, move your
Yeah.
shoulders around. Just, take a quick walk around the block or
Mhm.
something, get some sunshine, watch what you're eating, watch what you're drinking. That in and of itself uh, will do wonders. And then taking care of maybe some deeper wounds that you may be holding on to
Mhm.
doesn't take that long. It
Yeah.
really doesn't. But like anything, there's a certain persistence and a certain relentlessness, just like your physical health.
Mhm.
You just don't get to go to a personal trainer once and then work out at the gym twice. And, you get to look like a Marvel movie superhero for
Well,
the
we
rest
can
of your life.
hope. We can
You
hope.
hope, you wish. Fortunately, that's not the way life works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the people who are in Marvel movies and looked all ripped and got the six packs and all the stuff, they're working out, 3, 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons Hugh Jackman quit Wolverine
Mhm.
is because of the utter relentlessness. He spent for 10 years keeping his body in that kind of shape, even when he was doing other movies, because it's harder to
Mhm.
lose it and gain it back than just do it every day.
Yeah.
And the amount of money, because when we're recording this, that Deadpool Wolverine movie just was the big summer blockbuster.
Mhm.
I can't imagine the kind of money they offered him to get into that kind of shape again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty extraordinary what you can do with mind,
Mhm.
but there may be some blocks, there may be some walls that needs to be taken care of. And and what's nice about working with a facilitator like a hypnotherapist is again, they're not healing you in and of itself,
Yeah.
but they may be able to help you negotiate those walls and those blocks that
Mhm.
maybe you can't do on your own or by listening to a YouTube,
Mhm.
recording or a video or something. Because there's a lot of good, cool stuff out there on YouTube you just listen to help you just calm down and feel better and reset your nervous system. But sometimes there's blocks to that deeper healing.
Mhm.
And 'cause the main task of your subconscious mind is is to protect you and keep you safe,
Mhm.
right? And so it may be doing so in a not very resourceful or resilient way, like armoring you with a lot of anger
Yeah.
or anxiety or fear or things like that. But it's trying to protect you and keep you safe, which doesn't necessarily mean happy and successful.
Right.
So if you can kind of see what the codes are, what that computer code is on what is keeping you safe from, and heal those wounds and install new instructions on how to keep you safe and for confidence and for feeling good and
Mhm.
and for joy and happiness whatever it is you're looking for and then practice that you can have everything you want. You really can.
What does that process look like of helping people identify what those codes are that
Hmm.
may be holding them back?
Oftentimes we just start with the feeling state.
Okay.
A good example of this is a few years ago, well, during the COVID years in 2020, 2021, 2022, I guess. I was teaching some classes for the cancer support community of Arizona. And I live in Flagstaff, Arizona, and they opened up an office up here in Flagstaff. So I was teaching some classes on Saturday mornings or Thursday evenings or whatever it was. And then, COVID happened, so everything went to Zoom. They were one of the first uh, institutes or offices or whatever that I saw that shut down because, everybody you're dealing with cancer, everybody has a compromised immune system. And so they shut down in-person stuff and went to Zoom. So that was a way I learned how to do Zoom stuff. In fact, majority of my sessions now, just even the one-on-one stuff are Zoom, just like this. And so I was teaching these classes, and there'd be a series of classes like on pain control and healing acceleration, and boosting your immune system, things like that. And in one of the series of classes, an older woman was there, and I'm guessing she's in her 70s. And uh, these classes are an hour long, and you have 12, 15 people, so there wasn't a lot of engagement. Maybe a little bit before, maybe a little bit afterward, but we're just doing process. It wasn't like, talking to each other. It's like, okay, we're going to start the process, and we start now. And then, everybody wake up, open your eyes, continue on with your day. And a lot of people, okay, I got to go. So there wasn't a lot of engagement. But on the beginning of the third class, she was early. I'm setting up the Zoom room, getting ready for class. And she was at the class area, and we're just chit-chatting about our days, about the weather and all that chit-chatty stuff. And then she asked, does hypnotherapy work with procrastination? I said, yeah, it works that's a mindset issue. You're blocking yourself from moving forward, even though it might be beneficial, might help you get the promotion at work or the investors to your business or graduate, university or college or high school or whatever. But there's a block there because there's some fear. It's trying to protect you, thinks it's unsafe, like there's a rattlesnake in the trail or something. So you want to move away from that. That's good, fear. Don't walk down the dark alley at midnight. That fear and that anxiety about the dark alley is going to keep you safe. Keep to the lighted streets. That's a great way to live life. But sometimes it gets a little confused, and now you're blocking yourself from moving forward. So you got some procrastination. Hypnotherapy can certainly help with that. And so we actually set up an appointment for the very next day. And what's interesting about this work, when the subconscious mind realizes you're going to be doing some deeper healing work, kind of starts turning the gears and say, well, we can work on a problem, but why not just work on the problem? And so when she got to the session about just 24 hours later, she says, I know I told you I wanted to work on procrastination, but what I really want to work on is why I don't matter in life.
Yeah.
This is a 70-year-old woman who thinks she's worthless and doesn't matter.
Wow.
There's a feeling state to that. There's a pain somewhere in the body where you hold on to that, whether you want to define it as anxiety or anger or fear or worthlessness or not feeling like you matter in life. You feel that somewhere in your body. To feel that in your body, you have to change your brain chemistry. So let's say for anxiety, you have to start creating the hormones of adrenaline and cortisol. You create these neuropeptides, these molecules that the brain creates that send the message of emotion. Hundreds of millions of these neuropeptides, these molecules, into your bloodstream, looking for cells in your body to attach to. They have the right receptors, send the message of emotion to the cells of your body. So that's why you feel like that. That's why you can feel the difference between anger and depression and anxiety and joy and happiness. Because these neuropeptides, these are little molecules of fear, molecules of joy, molecules of anger. And so to change your brain chemistry in this way that we're talking about, to feel that anxiety or that worthlessness or that anger, can only happen through a memory or a thought. Now, these thoughts and memories may be unconscious, but in order to feel that way, that you're worthless or that you don't matter or that you just have all this anger, even if you're not sure what it's about, the only way to change that feeling state in your body is to change your brain chemistry. And the only way to change your brain chemistry in that way is by a thought or accessing a memory, even if it's unconscious. So there's a direct connection between the thought or memory that's causing that feeling state. So sometimes we start with the feeling state. And so that's what we're doing. This work, in the processes we're doing, I say now, like, focus on that feeling state. Where do you feel it in your body? Some people say their heads or the back of the neck or their throat or their chest or their heart or their gut or their stomach, or I just feel in my arms. Where do they feel it? They're holding it somewhere. Now I want you to go back to the very first time you ever felt that feeling before. I'm going to count 10 down to 1. And by 1, you'll be at the very first time you ever felt that feeling. And so we did that process. Go back to the very first time you ever felt worthless or that you didn't matter in life, 10 down to one. And I ask her, where are you? And she says, I'm standing up in my crib and my father's screaming at me because I won't stop crying. Now, standing up your crib, that's like 12 months old, I'm guessing, 14 months old, somewhere around there. And if she's 70-ish years old, a few years ago, that's late 1950s, maybe early 1960s, and maybe men weren't exactly trained on how to be nurturing fathers, at least in the early years, maybe. Or maybe dad just isn't a very nice person. Or maybe dad's just having a bad day and mom's out of the house and he doesn't know how to deal with a crying baby. He's supposed to be asleep and just having a bad day, a bad week, having a bad life, maybe not being a very nice person. The only thing he can think to do to get some peace and quiet in the house is to scream louder than the baby and tell the baby to shut up. And in that instant, the child has to justify why this is happening. Here's this person supposed to protect her and keep her safe and nurture her and love her, instead of screaming at her, telling her to shut up. And to justify why this terror, why this trauma is happening, her subconscious mind came up, well, I guess I just don't matter. I guess I'm worthless. I don't matter. I'm unworthy of anything. And that's how she went through life with that computer code. And what kind of procrastination is that going to be? Well, what's the point of even trying? What's the point of being creative? What's the point of going out and trying if I'm worthless and I don't matter in life? And she held on to that for some 70 years until one day she decided to change it. And she did. Change happens in an instant.
Wow.
And she healed that. And that's the last time I saw her. Never saw her again. Now I checked up with her. We check up with each other, every few months or so for about a year, see how she's doing. Doing fantastic, doing great. Because she healed that computer code. Change happens in an instant. Now, that wasn't her only session. She had, 2, 3 group sessions, but not on the topic that she wanted to heal. We're doing pain control and healing acceleration and immune system boosting. So change happens in an instant. There may be some setup to that change. There might be 65 years of setup to that change. But when she was ready to change it, when she was ready to heal, she said, can you work with this? I said, absolutely. Hypnotherapy can help with that. And she changed it all by herself.
Yeah.
I was there to lifeguard the situation. And so that's when I say, maybe this isn't exactly easy and simple, but maybe it can be that easy and simple. It's not, how many years of talk therapy was it going to take her to get back to being 12 months old, standing up at crib, being yelled at by her father?
May not have.
May never have had, because it was so far behind that curtain within the unconscious part of mind. But what the problem is. She knew exactly what the problem is. She knew exactly what that origin was of that feeling that she was worthless. And she healed. She healed the child. And by moving that healing forward through time, across her timeline, again, it's like you're using a lot of metaphor, you're using a lot of symbolism, because the subconscious mind loves that. I can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And this is most noticeable when people are having a nightmare in the middle of the night, right? And it doesn't matter how crazy or how ridiculous a cheeseburger's chasing down the street, throwing coconuts at you. It's dumb. It's not going to happen. But even
it's still
sleep,
scary.
it's still scary. And you'll turn on the stress response. Right? Even in deep sleep, your brain will start creating adrenaline and cortisol. You've heard the crazy stories of grandmothers lifting cars off of babies. That's adrenaline doing. That's not coursing through your body. 300% more blood is moving to the big muscles of your arms to fight. 300% more blood moving to big muscles of your legs to escape. Got to come from somewhere. So it's turning down the power in your immune system. So that's why people get stressed when they're sick, or stressed when they're sick. That's why people get sick when they're stressed.
Yes.
Turning down the power in your digestive system. So that's why people get irritable bowel syndrome when they're stressed. This is all happening in deep sleep. So imagine what's happening in your waking world. And so the mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined, and will change your physiology, how you feel in your body, by what you're thinking and feeling. So if you have to pretend that you're healing the child and then moving that healing forward across some sort of timeline to your age today, knocking out every other event that ever caused you problems, so you're this strong and empowered person by the end of it. Did that really happen? I don't know, maybe not, but it doesn't matter. Your imagination allowed that healing to happen, Your mind can't tell the difference between what is real and what's an imaginary event, a real event or imaginary event. So it happened.
Yeah.
And that, again, that's why this doesn't take a long time, and it can be, I don't want to say it's that easy, but it can be that simple, if that makes any sense. It's
Right.
kind of twisty, topsy-turvy language, but this doesn't have to take a long time. This doesn't have to take years or even months.
Yeah.
That the lady I was just talking about, she did 2 or 3 group sessions on a topic that she didn't need, that didn't need to heal the deeper issue, and then one session on that deeper issue. That was it. And I'm not saying that that's everybody's story, but it can be. You are that powerful.
Yeah.
And even
If
if
you
you
want
don't
it,
know what it
because
is, if you want it,
you
yeah.
mentioned you have to want it, right? Like in order
Yeah.
to actually have that healing. And the example of the patient that you worked with, she'd reached a point in her life that she wanted
Yeah. And
to
generally,
overcome.
if you're reaching the point of calling a hypnotherapist, you're ready.
You're
We're
ready.
at the last of the list.
Yeah.
Should be the first.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we should be. But unfortunately, because we're looked at as the witch doctors out there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's really just like, you got nothing else to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are in so much pain. You're so depressed. You're so anxious. You're so angry. You're in so much emotional pain. It's like, I guess I'll do hypnotherapy, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because you probably spent years doing everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, not to say that it's going to take just 2 or 3 sessions, but sometimes it just takes 2 or 3 sessions, even if it's something you've been holding on to for 70 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As coaches, Natalie and I, we know working with people, the mindset piece of it is really what impacts almost every part of their life and their business. But hearing the power that it has to actually be able to heal people's bodies, I think I knew that. Natalie
Yeah.
probably could agree. I mean, I think we knew that at some level, but to hear how quickly it can happen just by focusing on that is absolutely amazing. And it's just so interesting to me that it's not something that's talked about more.
Yeah. Yeah. And my hope is that it's going to become more commonplace.
Yeah.
A lot of research out there with hypnotherapy is done in hospitals.
Hmm.
And this is like Harvard, this is Yale, this is published
Right.
in the New England Journal of Medicine, the Frontiers in Psychology, the big places. And some of the research was done on people before they had surgery.
Mm.
And what they found is a half an hour, 30-minute session before surgery decreased anxiety rates by 56%,
Wow.
as opposed to the increase of 42% if they
Yeah.
just have the regular pre-surgical standard of care or whatever. But by decreasing the anxiety by those levels, people's blood pressure lowered, of course,
Mhm.
or their heart rate lowered. They bled less in surgery, so surgery took less time. And they were also released from the hospital sooner with less complications.
Yeah.
And so that's money. Now, in and of itself, maybe per patient, it's not a lot of money, maybe $5,000, $10,000 per patient in
Mhm.
terms of taking a 60-minute surgery down to 45 minutes and being out of the hospital in a day and a half instead of 3 days. In and of itself, maybe it's not a lot of money per patient, but how many people had surgery today? I mean, just in Phoenix, Arizona, how many people had surgery, let alone the rest of the country
Yeah.
times 365 days a year? We're
Right.
talking hundreds of millions of dollars in savings for the insurance companies, right? And
Mhm.
your premiums are going to stay the same, your deductibles are going to stay the same, but they're leaving a lot of cash on the table there,
Yeah.
all because of a 30-minute hypnotherapy session.
Yeah.
And so even if they pay, and they're going to charge you, of course,
Mhm.
$100 for that 30-minute hypnotherapy. I don't know. It's a hospital. They'll probably charge you $200 for a 30-minute hypnotherapy session.
Yeah.
This insurance companies could be saving $10,000 off that $200 hypnotherapy session. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
So it's going to happen. That's money,
That's
and
money.
money talks. That's why they're saving the rainforest, right? Down in South America for the chocolate,
Yep.
because they realize,
Yeah.
hey, we're running out of chocolate. We better save the rainforest. It's about the money. And
Yes.
so We're going to see hypnotherapy, I bet, in the next 5, 6, 7 years in every major hospital. All they have to do is kind of standardize education.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like being a MRI tech. You learn how to be an MRI tech in Arizona, and then you can go be an MRI tech in
Yeah.
Georgia or New York or
Mm-hmm.
Washington or Oregon or wherever. So once they standardize the education around it,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I don't know, maybe they put it in certain universities or something,
Mm-hmm.
they'll allow it in. Or maybe you have to be a social worker or psychotherapist of a certain,
Mm-hmm.
degree or something. But it'll be in there because we're talking big money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Incredible.
So it'll
Well,
happen.
and Craig, you mentioned this, and I'd love to just hear your thoughts and opinions on the tools and resources that are available on YouTube or any of those other
Mm-hmm.
platforms, because there are, and I've gone down this path and I have my own thoughts on it, but I'd love to hear your opinion on that. If someone were looking to get started, is that an option that you'd recommend, or do you truly, in fact, recommend having a facilitator because you are uncovering and discovering quite a bit in those sessions?
Yeah, you can get some great generalized healing, especially
Okay.
like things like pain control.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel that works pretty well with things like YouTube videos, or if you get a recording or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Um, you're at your used bookstore and you see an old CD, if people remember what CDs were or whatever.
And if you have
Uh,
something to play it in,
and
that's
so, but yeah, it's probably all on Spotify
yes.
now or whatever. You find the healing recordings and visualization techniques, and yeah, those are going to
Yes.
work. But you also run into people who say, "Yeah, I tried this healing technique. I just feel blocked." It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, then maybe there's something
The
more there
different.
that needs to be taken care of,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
And same with that person, you'll know your intuition is going to tell you. That's your subconscious mind talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like the example I gave, the woman I was working with, she was just taking a class, a generalized class, and those could have just as well been, YouTube videos or recordings I was doing, because I got 12, 15 people in class that all may be dealing with something different.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it's not like I can be very specific with 15 people. So it's just a more generalized thing. And she, you know, trained her nervous system to relax and rest. And her subconscious mind says, you need to go deeper.
Yeah.
Let's work on a deeper issue. And
Yeah.
maybe wouldn't even tell her what the issue was.
Mm.
Procrastination.
Yeah.
Okay, that got her into the appointment.
Yeah.
And then it's like your subconscious mind leading her down, like, okay, take this class and relax and learn and listen to the recordings that I send to people to practice at home. And it settled her nervous system to the point where, okay, now we can do the deeper healing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And,
Well,
like I say,
that's
it's
the
not,
safer problem, right? It's easier to walk in and connect with someone and say, "Oh, procrastination is my
Procrastination.
challenge,"
sure.
versus
Yeah,
"I'm not worthy."
yeah,
Yes.
and
That's
I don't, and I don't
a
like,
little different.
I don't like dropping people into the deep end of the pool
Yeah.
if I
Yes.
don't, if nobody knows whether you can swim or not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's get into the pool like a little kid gets in the pool. We'll get into
Mm-hmm.
our ankles and our knees and our
Yep.
waist and our chest, and we're
Yeah.
swimming in the pool. And
That's
then if
it.
we need to go over to the deep end, and we can do it in a safe and gentle way. Your nervous system's used to the work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's not years and months.
Yeah.
That's like 2, 3 sessions,
Yeah.
maybe, you know.
That's great.
And so again, it's not this. I don't want to say it's simple and easy, but maybe it is simple and easy.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of part two of that is, yeah, there's a relentlessness to this
Mhm.
work, just like your physical health. Everybody listening here knows there's a relentlessness and a persistence to your physical health. You got to go to the classes, whether it's a dance class or aerobics class or a spin class, or you're just going to the gym, or you're just taking a walk around the block in the sunshine or whatever. You got to do that, something every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about your emotional health? What about your mental health? What about your spiritual health?
Mm-hmm.
Is there not a certain persistence and relentlessness to that as well? Of course there is. And I know, I listed out, talking to somebody today, it's like, yeah, I got my list of everything I want to do during my day, get up and exercise and then do, a half an hour yoga and then do my qigong and then do my inspirational reading and then write my gratitude list and then do my prayer work and then meditate. And then, I got this list of 5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
I don't have 5, 6 hours. You
No.
know,
No.
so I've
Well,
had
that
this
does
list
sound
for
like a
years.
lovely morning. That
It
would be
does
great.
Sound like a lovely morning
Fabulous way to start the
and
day.
afternoon, but
Yes.
even on my days off, I don't do that. Oh God, I gotta change that. Like this morning, I was like, oh, I could change the headline in the car before I
Yeah.
get another fix-it ticket, or I got oh, and I
Yes.
got, and then my wife, hey, can you run and do the thing? I'm like, okay, I'll run and do the thing, and you know,
Life.
and so there's a relentlessness and persistence, but you got to use the in-between times.
Yeah.
If you got 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that's fine. Then
Just
use
use
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love
Well,
it.
Craig, how can our listeners get a hold of you or touch base with you if they are wanting to learn more about your work or even just schedule a session to visit with you and do work
Yeah.
with you?
Well, the best way is just find me at my website is Arizona Integrative Hypnotherapy. I know that's a mouthful. If you just go to Google and you type in Flagstaff hypnosis, you'll see me there on the map, Arizona Integrative Hypnotherapy, or in the search there somewhere. That's the best way. Just contact me through there. I also have a test anxiety course, and the name of that is ACE Any Test, which is a way easier to remember than the other name. So
Yes.
if you just went to aceanytest.com, and not just for high schoolers, but
Yeah.
if you're 65 years old and you want to you're bored and want to start a new career as a real estate agent, you're taking that real estate agent exam, or
Yes.
or an electrician or a firefighter, let alone a doctor or a lawyer. So there's tests all over the place, let alone auditions for musicians and actors and job interviews and things like this. So it's called ACE Test, and you can also email me through there.
Awesome.
Beautiful. I love that. Well, we will make sure that we drop that in our show notes as well so that our listeners can get a hold of you. It has been an absolute pleasure. Do you
Thank you,
have
Natalie.
any last tips or words of advice for our listeners before we sign off today?
I would probably just say, just to kind of reiterate what we've been talking about, is what you practice, you get better at. What is strongest within your mind is what you do over and over again, which is great
Mhm.
if you're, learning to play piano or learning martial arts or dance or something. But what if you're practicing anxiety? What if you're practicing that anger? Are you not literally wiring that into your head like you're learning a foreign language?
Yeah.
So a lot of this work is, yeah, the part one may be the deeper healing work you need to do.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what that is, your intuition is telling you, yeah, there's something in there that needs to be dealt with. Okay, deal with that. Deal with the hurt, the pain, the wounding that may have happened maybe when you were a child.
Mhm.
But the part two of that is, now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want a black belt in joy, or a black belt in confidence, or a black belt in happiness, you can have it. But like
Mm.
getting a black belt in judo or taekwondo, it's going to take some persistence and some relentlessness.
Mhm.
And just like your physical health, you don't, get to just work out during your early 20s and then you look awesome for the rest of your life. You're always watching what you eat, always watching what you put in your body, let alone the exercise and stuff. So same with your mental health, your emotional health. What are you doing every day? Even if it's just 5 minutes, what can you do every day? Whether it's just a gratitude list, or reading an inspirational page from a wonderful book, or just taking a
Mhm.
moment to breathe in deeply into your gut. And this is one of the greatest things you can ever do, is breathe in deeply into your belly, blow up your belly. And I know we want to suck it in for the wedding and the high school reunion, and our jeans don't fit like that anymore. But blow up your belly, get that air into the bottom of your lungs. 20% of the oxygen goes directly to your brain. So breathe in, send all that fuel, all that oxygen up to your brain, and then exhale out with a sigh. So breathe in, and then one more, top it off, and then that'll reset your nervous system in just like 5 minutes. Do
Beautiful.
that 3 or 4 times. Simplest thing you can do. And yeah, maybe not in the middle of a meeting, or if you're teaching a class or you're on a Zoom call. Uh,
But
but
Not the
definitely in the
camera.
car before the meeting
yeah,
or before you go
exactly.
live on the Zoom call. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Just watch your body,
Mhm.
change your state, change your body, and breathe deeply with an audible sigh. It can be that simple.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That
Yeah.
is fabulous. Thank
love
you
it.
so much. Oh my gosh. Craig Meriwether, we appreciate you so, so much.
Oh,
This has been
thank you,
a
Natalie.
pleasure. Yes. Now we have some insight into hypnotherapy. And again, it's for both physical, mental, emotional challenges, trauma, obstacles, hurdles, you name it. There's a solution. And I love what you said. It's, oh my gosh, the placebo. It is the
Non-deceptive placebo.
deceptive
We're
is
not,
the
we're not going
word.
to trick you into healing.
I
Heal
try
yourself.
not to say that word. I try not to think about the placebos being deceptive. Like you said that and my mind just went there. And I was like, oh, shoot. The non-deceptive placebo
Yes.
is in hypnotherapy. So being able to heal yourself, we all have the power to do it. So taking that power back and taking control and really facing it when we're ready to face it. You've given us a fabulous tool. We will make sure that we add your contact information into our show notes so our listeners can find you. And for everyone else, if you're wanting to learn more about what's happening in the world of Reignite Resilience, head on over to reigniteresilience.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram so that you can see what's happening, and make sure that you subscribe to our upcoming Think Letter. Until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.